Hello, and welcome to the journey of grief becoming us without them. I'm Barbara Field, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I've created this space so that people who are grieving losses have a space to hang out with one another and receive some awesome information to support their grief journey. And today I've invited Robin Wong to hang out with us. And Robin is a dietitian who runs a wellness center. And we're going to talk about an aspect of grief that most people don't think of, but which can be so important, and how grief can be supported if we pay attention to our nutrition. And so, Robin, would you like to tell us about you and your work?
Oh, I'd love to, and I'm really excited, if I can say that in this space, because many people aren't excited about life at this point, but because this is a topic that really needs to be talked about. Because when we're in grief, we don't think about food, we don't even feel like eating, and so I think it's overlooked. And so as we go through this, hopefully I'll offer some tips that'll help people. But like you said, I'm a registered dietitian. I have my master's in nutrition, and I came to that later in life. This is kind of like my third act. And with my business partner, we run a wellness center called Revitalize Wellness, and we focus on holistic nutrition and really with the belief that food is medicine. And really, it's important to meet people where they are. And what I have seen in my practice is typically people that have experienced grief, they come into my practice um, sort of as they've come through it a little bit, and they think it's sort of in the past, but yet now they're addressing their own health issues. And what I have found is some of those health issues have stemmed from them not caring for themselves during this process, and their habits have changed, and cooking for one, remembering to eat, uh, being sort of homebound, because it's so much energy to get out and see people, and their health has taken a toll on their health, and they don't draw that correlation sometimes. But as I start working with them and getting to know them about their lives, this comes out. And then I also see sometimes we're like working with people. Um, Anniversaries. They'll be doing really great, and we're kind of working on some of their health issues and getting them back on track. And then a certain anniversary will spur something. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, those are ugly times.
Yeah, and then they sort of regress, and they really sometimes are hard on themselves when that happens. And I really want everybody here to know it is a journey. Just getting on a path of better health is a journey, and now you add this extra stressor, emotional stressor of grief, and so to really allow yourself some grace. And I like to tell them, one meal doesn't make or break your health. It's what are we doing over a longer period of time? And so that's kind of what I see. And I also have had clients where they've lost a parent or something like that. And I think the biggest thing that they're shocked about is the lack of appetite. They just have no appetite at all. And then they start worrying sometimes of, well, will I become nutrient deficient if I'm not eating? And so what we work on is really recognizing that you have this, let's face it, your life has been turned upside down. And getting through the day, just you don't think about food, or you go the other direction and you really lean into those comfort foods. And food plays a big role in health, but also in mood. Okay. And so what I like to help them do is really understand that since you don't have much appetite, you really need to choose well, okay? And what you nourish your body with has to be really fine-tuned, because we want to get as many nutrients in as we can in that small amount in those infrequent times that you're eating, okay? And yet, if you don't feel like cooking, what does that look like? And so, often I've seen this happen and done it myself, where you want to help somebody that's grieving, and so you take a big old casserole of something with the idea that people are going to be around, And it's fine in that early stage, but when everybody goes back to their lives, you know, it's the everyday smaller things that they need. And so what I have found is really, uh, fine tuning. I'm going to provide something for you, just meal ideas. And for people that want to help people grieving, do smaller, smaller portions so they can put in the freezer and then they can heat up and that sort of thing. I mean, I think have you found that yourself, Barbara?
I'm not sure. I lived the entire first year after my husband died on protein shakes and prepackaged salads.
Okay.
So I don't even know if I would have chunked something in the microwave, but as we talked earlier, I thought about that. It's that idea of instead of bringing a giant lasagna, just to bring individual portions or smaller portions. So
Yeah.
I found Costco has they're little vegetarian lasagnas, and they're more like a two-person serving. So you could pull one of those out of the freezer at a time.
Yeah, yeah. So it's stuff like that that I think is really helpful. And then here's the thing: is, from a nutrition standpoint, we want to keep people grieving as healthy as possible. And a lot of our immune system is regulated in our gut, okay, like 70 or 80% of it. And so our gut health is really important. And what really stimulates our gut health is eating higher fiber foods, like more of the vegetables and fruits and beans and nuts and seeds and those sort of things. Yet, some of the easiest things people do are they will buy frozen dinners, right, which are high in sodium and a lot of chemicals, that sort of thing. And I get why they do it because it's the easiest possible thing, but we can ask our friends to create that for us, right, and bring them in so they're slightly healthier. And because the last thing we want to happen is you get sick too. Okay. I was just at Pilates this morning, and my friend that's there lost her husband about 6 months ago. And she told me as she was caring for him, they literally lived on root beer and Cheetos. Okay. And she says, and my health is feeling it now. Okay. At the time, that's all she could manage, all he wanted to eat. So that's what they ate. And she says, and she goes, all my numbers are out of whack now. And so I understand that process, but had maybe people been trying to bring healthier stuff that would have been mitigating, there would have been fewer Cheetos and more and some more about something else. Does that make sense? So it's not you can't have those things, especially if the person's sick and wants that. But it's like, especially if you're a caregiver, you have to keep your energy up and your health up in order to do that job.
And
Okay.
I can see how someone would get so focused on taking care of the person they're supporting that the idea of cooking something else or different or better for themselves, just whatever they eat, I'm going to eat. So
Yeah.
when my father-in-law was dying, he just wanted Taco Bell. And so that's what my mother-in-law ate.
Yeah, yeah. So you see how it happens, right? And so, for me, we were kind of laughing about it. Not that it was funny, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if we could have had even a veggie platter sitting there where you could walk by and eat a few vegetables along with the Cheetos, right? I mean, so it's those sort of things because you aren't focused on eating. And this is true after with the loss, after you're grieving. And so those sort of things that you can easily grab are really important. And because sometimes you just don't want to sit down to a whole meal. You don't have the appetite. It's just too much. It's all you can do to put food on the fork and into your mouth. And so kind of that quick, easy stuff. And the other thing is, there's certain, because from a gut health perspective, is we know like serotonin is, which helps your sleep and helps your mood, and dopamine, all those different hormones that are actually stimulated at some level in your gut are things we want to have happening because people aren't sleeping either. Everything's out of whack, and nothing feels normal, and you're looking for that new normal, which is not that eludes you for quite some time. So we're just trying to keep you healthy as you navigate that, right, through nutrition. And so, a lot of the things I helped my clients do is let's do a lot of one pot things. So it's like it's not a huge production because good food doesn't have to be hard. Okay, really basic food doesn't have to be hard. And so if we could make enough, because even batch cooking is a lot for a lot of people sometimes. So those are the ways your friends can help is they can do a big pot of soup, bring some over for you to eat, and then portion out the rest to put in the fridge or the freezer. Okay.
Mhm.
And the other thing I think people don't realize is when they're trying to help is people have a lot of different food preferences, so it makes it hard. A lot of different health concerns, medications, that sort of thing. So really leaning into more of the plant focused foods because they're going to be the more bang for your effort. Does that make sense? Where you're getting the fiber and all the antioxidants and all the things, and there's usually less um, things that could harm your health. Okay, and that's what we're trying to avoid, those things that are going to make you sick as well. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just so fascinated by this idea once you first introduced it. I don't know I've ever talked to anyone who had a conversation about, okay, how are we going to bring food to the family? So we set up committees, okay, you do Tuesday, I'll do Wednesday, and we all bring stuff. But nobody ever talks about those things where, yeah, but they're going to be all alone after the family goes home. And they're not gonna want to eat. So what's the most healthy thing? What's the thing
Yeah,
they need? People just don't think like that. And I think it's the neatest idea.
yeah. No, and here's the thing. Your body is going to be running regardless. Okay. It keeps you going. You don't feel like it sometimes, and it just automatically does it. So let's help it out. Okay. And let's help it get back on track, even though you don't feel yourself. But I can tell you when your body feels better, it's easier to walk outside and get a few minutes of sunshine, which we know is going to help you. It's going to be a little bit easier to start navigating the grief and the pain. And I just think that it's hard to think about, but it's so imperative. That's the thing. And so, but I even people not in grief, they don't think about their food the way I do either, right? So I just think that, like I said, food is medicine. And I want you to realize as you go through grief, it's an emotional stressor. Okay. And stress itself really taxes the body. Okay. And so you have the emotional stress of the grief and the change and all of those emotions that go with that. And we know those emotional stressors affect your blood pressure, affect your heart rate, affect your blood sugars. If we want to really get technical, affects your digestion. Um, a lot of times people don't, they lose their taste. They don't really, nothing tastes good. And so, we know fatigue comes with that, weakened immune system, all those things. And then people start bringing you food, and we do the traditional sort of Western diet type foods that are high in meat and cheese and all of those things that sadly aren't the best things for us health wise, nor are they, good from a chemical stressor sort of aspect because some of those foods raise inflammation, okay? And so people, and they raise the cortisol levels, the stress hormone. And so food plays a big role. And so even if we start thinking about it in a little bit, it's a little bit, that's a positive direction. Does that make sense? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, where do we go with that? And so, you know, um, if you have it in you, I know most people that are watching this or experience some sort of grief, loved one, a pet, whatever it might be. Um, and there's different, every day's not the same, right? Every day is not the same. So wait for that day that you have a little more energy, okay, to really kind of get your head around this and say, all right, I know I need to eat something, okay, and what do I actually like? And then kind of lean into that. There's got to be one vegetable you like, one fruit you like, one bean that you like. And if you can just lean into those things and try to get those into you, you've done really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just it's so much more strategic because I know I don't know that I'm very strategic by nature, but during that time of brain fog, there was no like, oh, I'm in a good mood today. What should I get done today that I can't do the other days? Never thought about that.
Okay, so maybe I'm asking too much, you know?
No,
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
think if someone had said to me that,
yeah,
there's going to be days you're more productive. So on the days when you just feel like you're in a coma and you're thinking about stuff and saying, nah, I'm not going to do that, put it on a list. And then maybe on the days when you feel a little better, have a little more energy, you can look at that list and prioritize things.
yeah. Yeah, and I think what people don't realize is, your friends can, everybody, people don't know what to do sometimes, and the person grieving doesn't know how to ask or doesn't even know what they need. All right. So sometimes on those days that you feel a bit better, you're kind of like, all right, I could ask, Margie to bring over some fresh fruit because that's easy to grab. Okay. I could ask somebody to do a market run for me and lean into the frozen vegetables, the canned, beans and stuff like that. Is fresh better? Absolutely, but it takes more effort to prepare it, and you have to cook it. And sometimes you can get frozen things that aren't the frozen meals that are actually healthier. So if you lean into just the plain frozen vegetables, and then you can season them however you like, at least you're getting something in you is really beneficial for your body, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And you're right. I mean, we don't like to ask for help. No one does.
Yeah,
And so it can, like I tell people, my husband's best friend would check on me once a month for a while, and then once a quarter for a while, and or just show up. I'm here with my toolkit. Let me look around and see what's broken because I just could not make myself ask. Well, the same with the food. It's like, what? I can't do my own food now. And
yeah.
so it would be so cool for people. You see those checklists of things, what you shouldn't say to someone in grief. It would be awesome if there were checklists of what you should actually take to people who are grieving.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that, and it's hard from my perspective as a dietitian. The people always come and they want a meal plan. Well, it's sort of like, but I don't know what you like to eat. Okay? And so you can spend all this time doing a meal plan, and yet there's things that they just don't like or they can't eat or whatever. And so, if you know what you like and even have some recipes that are something you really enjoy, pull them out, give them to people, let them make those for you because the last thing you want to do is change up your food a lot too, because you've already had a ton of change. Okay. And people, and you don't want to waste it. That's the thing. People don't want to waste the food when it comes. And that's another thing. And so I think this idea of saying, can we, and that's why I don't think you can go wrong with taking over fresh fruit, taking over, a vegetable platter where people can, just sort of, because you can always take the veggie platter and then cook the vegetables. They're already pre-cut, right? And so if you want to cook those up, just things like that, easy things. A lot of times you can, I don't know what comfort foods people have, but there's easy ways to kind of, you got to think out of the box a little bit, but just ask them what they like, and then go to town. And like I said, I like to lean into those recipes that don't use a lot of meat, dairy, and eggs, because those recipes that don't use those, they're really more flavorful in the sense that they have to rely more on spices. And so think about it. If you don't have an appetite, something's got to have a lot of flavor to entice you to keep eating it. All right. And so, and then the other thing is I think make it beautiful, make it colorful, and we know when you eat a rainbow, it's not only, it's good for us, but it looks beautiful. And so that's to me, we eat with our eyes too. So we really want to stimulate our appetites that we don't have when we're grieving through some of that. And so spices, whole, fresher foods, colorful foods do that as well. And that is so overlooked, so
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, any questions you have for me that I haven't covered?
So just just some specific tips, like what are some like let's say it was your best friend who was grieving and was really in a coma and you just wanted to take like people say, well, I'll take a casserole and then it'll last. Well, that assumes that I'm gonna have the energy to divide that in individual servings and put them in the freezers. So better bringing something already divided up. But if you were gonna bring like nutritious emergency, eat this and you'll come out the best you can for the next 10 days. Like what kind of stuff would you bring to your best
That's a
friend?
really good question. And here's the other thing. Not everybody has that much Tupperware, right? Or to really divide everything up individually. So I go buy the individual packages, where they have little compartments. And like I'll do in my Instapot, I do a big pot of steel cut oats. And then I take out, 5 or 6 of those little individual packaged Tupperware things or serving things. And I'll put my oatmeal and I'll put different 2 types of berries in the other 2 compartments. Okay. And you put the lid on it. And now you've got 6 breakfasts where you pull it out, you can microwave it, put on your milk, put on some cinnamon. I might even put some cinnamon in it. Maybe sometimes I'll even do a little side of, um, nuts, some walnuts, because think about it. Now you have this is my dietitian mind's thinking, right? Berries are super high in antioxidants. You have fiber in all of it, which is great for your gut health. You add some walnuts, now you got some omega-3s, okay? Everything's is a very healthful meal and it's probably something they can get down, okay? And it's colorful. And so you have the beautiful berries, right? That sort of thing. For lunches, what I typically will do is I might get a tortilla type wrap and I'll put some hummus on it. And then I'll put all different types of vegetables, bell peppers and, green onions and lettuce and, grated carrot. And I roll it up and I'll cut it in half and I'll do a couple of those for easy, quick and go grab lunches. I mean, my clients do that all the time, and you can buy the whole grain or spinach type tortillas. You can even buy them gluten free. You can buy them low carb. Okay, so there's all these different options. Dinners, I like to really do soups. Okay, because it's a great way to get vegetables in a very tasty way. And the other thing I will do and they freeze really well. So some sort of vegetable soup. I do, for some reason, for a lot of people, noodles are very soothing and comforting. So I might find a noodle salad that I can take and they can eat that fresh. And I'll take something separate we can put in the freezer, like a soup. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And so it's just, if you think about it, and nothing I do is hard, Barbara. Okay. It's just super nutritious and tastes really good. And again, think about if you have a wrap that has some purple cabbage and some lettuce and tomatoes and carrots and the hummus on it gives it a lot of flavor. It's colorful, it's pretty. Okay. And it's easy to eat and it's not hard. And those things, you have all that stuff cut up and they can make that themselves. Okay, that's something they can
Yeah, that's
make
great.
themselves. Yeah. So
Those are great ideas.
great. Yeah, I could, come up with a bunch, but that's just what it comes in. Anytime you can get a bean involved or beans and greens, that's what we go for. That you're on the right track. So that's great.
Those are great things. So, what do you think when you get a new person coming into the wellness center and overwhelmed, like never thought very much about nutrition, and now you're like, okay, we're going to change the whole way that you eat, and it's going to be really easy, and you're going to love it, and you're not going to miss any of your yummy stuff at all. And so, yeah, and then now
I
I've got
never say that because that's not true.
that so that so if now I'm grieving and I'm waking up out of the fog maybe and realizing I don't feel very good. I've lacked my nutrition during a caregiving phase, or if it was a sudden death during a grieving phase. And now I have to try to come up out of the fog.
Yeah.
So what in the very first, all right, let's try some easy stuff.
Yeah.
And you've already mentioned a lot of that, but
Mhm.
like, what would be the very first, like, how about if you tried just eliminating these things or just adding these things?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, going back to when people first come in, we recognize habit change is hard. And so when we work with clients, we literally do it just week by week. What can you do this week? What can you do the next week? And then you add the grief on top, right? So um, I would say and this is even true with people we work with, it's not always about stopping what you're currently doing. What can we add in just to make it a little healthier? So, like I mentioned, my friend with the Cheetos, you know, could we have added in a few vegetables? Could you have done some carrots or some broccoli that we could have just said, eat a few pieces, okay? And, like I said, just something like that. So if you could get a vegetable in 2 to 3 times a day, or a few slices of apple or something like that, it just easy stuff, okay? Because there's got to be something that's going to taste good or slightly good. And so we got to figure out what that is and what's going to be easy to prepare. And so, if you think about if someone brought over some fresh apples and you had them in the crisper and you could just cut that up into slices and put some peanut butter on it, something like that, at least we know you're getting some nutrition, right? And it might be satisfying. And so I just think that on those days, I think the biggest thing too is people don't drink enough water. Okay, so we want to hydrate as well. So if you're not eating, at least be drinking water or herbal tea. Okay, get that in because um, that helps our body as well. And so I think that's overlooked as well. But what I guess the question would be is what can we get you to eat? What does anything sound good? No. All right. Let me make some suggestions and just put it in front of you and see if we can stimulate your appetite. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that your brain um, kind of focuses on what you think about. So if you're focusing on like in the grief, all you can see is what's been taken, what's gone, what will never be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're kind of doing that with your food at the same time, okay, now I don't get this and I don't get that and I can't have that. It just feels heavier and harder. So as you're inviting people into healthier nutrition, like what's the verbiage you use that sounds like change language? Now you can.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right, and I think it's like I said, it's not always about taking away. I mean, because you've already, especially with grief, you've already lost a lot. What can we add in? We're going to add in things that are going to enhance your health, and I'm sure you're already doing wonderful things with your food. How can we just make it, even better that you're going to enjoy it even more, right?
Oh,
And it's
that's
and
great.
it's sort of that idea of we want you to love your food, but we want you to love food that loves you back. All right.
Oh, what a great way to say that.
Yeah, we want it to love you back. And so, and I think a lot of times when we work with clients, when they understand the impact some of the food choices they're making, when they understand that and we educate them about that, then it makes it easier to make a better choice because we eat on default all the time. We don't think about our food. We just eat the way our parents taught us. We eat like we like because it's easy. It's, whatever the case may be. And what I have found when I work with clients, whether they're grieving or not, when they just have that little bit of knowledge, where they're actually being a little bit more mindful about it and just like, oh, I know more about that now. And huh, that information I saw on TikTok wasn't actually accurate. I can eat bananas, or whatever it might be. There's some wild stuff out there, right? And so then you feel better because you have a direction. And really, I think what happens for a lot of people is they just need direction. Because they're kind of like a ship out there just bouncing around, and we just sort of kind of need to get them back on a path, and we help them. We help them get on that path, and we support them through that. And so anytime I think you can have someone helping you navigate your grief, navigate creating a lifestyle around food, navigating someone to kind of be with you, to kind of just help you not be alone, is a positive thing for
Oh,
sure.
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of my videos, I always ask someone for their 1 minute nugget. If you just had 1 minute to tell us, if nobody listened to anything we talked about today, but you had 1 minute to put the good stuff in there, what would your 1 minute of wisdom be?
Oh, that's hard because the nutrition's hard. But I would say during this process of grief, allow yourself some grace and allow yourself to indulge in some of those foods that maybe make you feel good, but balance it if possible with some of the foods that we know are going to help you be well. And like I said, one meal doesn't make or break your health. It's what are we doing 90% of the time? And if you don't feel like eating, just try to get something in. Okay, just try to get something in and, lean into those foods that are, fruits and vegetables and beans and, all of those things because they are better for our gut health, which will help our mood, which will help our sleep, which will help the inflammation, all of those things. But that might be a little more than you can do right now, and that's okay. It is, I guess the one last thing is I know you're suffering, but you matter too. Your health matters too, and um, you have to be well to get through this. So let's try to keep you from, becoming unwell and just kind of staying well. I guess that would be kind of the message I'd want to send. Does that make sense? I hope.
It does make sense. That's great.
Good. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I'm just so excited about this. It's just such a new thing. I'm sure there's healthier people out there that thought about this a long time ago. But for me, raised by people from the South where you fry everything, the idea of thinking about your nutrition in the middle of your grieving, it's just so cool.
Yeah, and I'll provide with you a handout that people can look at. Maybe that'll help give them some direction and help direct their friends if they're navigating this so they can get some help. Yeah, thank you. I love talking about nutrition and helping people. So it was awesome.
Thank you so much. And I will have any references that you have and your handout and your contact information in the show notes so people can have that if they want it. Thank you.
Great. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.